Hi everyone, welcome to Math with Mullins. Today we're going to talk about mean, median, mode, and range. Go ahead and take the time now to pause the video and have your notes titled with mean, median, mode, and range. Once you're done writing it, go ahead and click play and come back to the video. The next thing we're going to talk about is the vocabulary with mean, median, mode, and range. These are the following 5 things that we're actually going to be talking about today. First thing on this is outlier. Again, you're going to want to pause the video here and write down all of the vocabulary terms in your notes. Once you're done, come back to us. Now that you've gotten a chance to write down all of the vocabulary terms, we're going to try 3 examples. We're going to look at 2 examples of how to find mean, median, mode, and range. And then the third example, we'll talk about how to find outliers and what does that mean for a set of data. Here's the first example. We have the number of days per week that members of the middle school soccer practice their skills is shown in the table. Find the mean, median, mode, and range. The first thing you want to do is put these all in ascending order. So the order would be 1, and I kind of cross out stuff as I go, 3, 4, looks like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so 5, 5, 5, 5, 3 6s, and 2 7s. To find the mean, I need to add all of these numbers together. I've already saved us some time and added them together, so when I add all the numbers together, I get 60. Once you're done adding the numbers together, you should divide by how many numbers there are. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 numbers. So what I'm going to do to find the mean is take take the sum, divide it by the 12 numbers. So 60 divided by 12 is 5. So my mean is 5. The median is the middle number after you've put it in least to greatest order. That's why we go ahead and just start with least to greatest order. That way, it's already ready for us. I'm going to go and just start taking off 1 on the left, 1 on the right. I do check marks so I can still see the numbers for the rest of the questions I have. Notice I have 2 5s in the middle. If you ever have 2 numbers in the middle, all you have to do is find the middle of those 2 middle numbers. You can see that both of them are 5, so obviously the middle number of 5 is 5, but just in case there were 2 numbers, you would simply add them together, so 5 plus 5 is 10, and then divide them by 2, you still get 5. So our median is 5. I'm going to change the next color for mode. Mode, remember, is the most occurring number. Before, when we were writing all of our numbers, we saw that we had 4 5s. So the mode, most occurring number, is 5. The last one is range. Range talks about subtracting maximum minus minimum. And here, in this case, our maximum is 7. The minimum is 1. So 7 minus 1 is 6, meaning our range is 6. So here are your 4 answers for this problem. The mean, median, and mode are all 5, and the range is 6. This would be a really good representation of the data because the mean, median, mode, and range are all really close to one another. So that means you probably have a good read on how many days of practice it actually is going on. Here's example 2. Why don't you go ahead and pause the video to see if you can find mean, median, mode, and range. Alright, so I've already gotten all of my mean, median, mode, and ranges written, and I've also written all of the numbers in least to greatest order. To find the mean, remember I have to add up all of these numbers. It probably took you a little bit of time here, but once you add it up from 44 all the way to 108, you should get 1,066. Once you have 1,066, you're supposed to divide it by however many numbers there are. Again, in this example, there are 12 numbers. After you divided, you did get a decimal, 88.8, and then that 3 kept repeating. So you can just keep keep it just like this, or if you wanted to round to the nearest tenth, you could. So I would either accept 88.83 or just 88.8, just because that 3 does not change the 8. Changing my color for the median is, remember, the middle number. So again, take one off the left, one off the right. And just like before, both the numbers in the middle are the same. Just in case they aren't, you just have to add them together. 92 plus 92, that's 184. Still dividing that by 2, you still get 192. So your median is 92. For the mode, that is your most occurring number. As you can see, we have two most occurring numbers. 108 occurs twice, and so does 92. Since they both occur the same amount of times, we're actually going to have two modes, 92 and 108. The last one is the range. The range, remember, is max minus min. So we have 108 minus 44, and that should give you 64. So the range is 64. Double check your answers. If anything, you can pause and rewind the video if you missed a concept or need a little bit more explanation. The last example I have for us today is what an outlier is. Remember, outliers is when it doesn't really fit into the data well. So here's another example of points per game. This is actually what we used these same numbers the last time. It says identify the outliers in the data and then find the mean with and without the outlier and describe how the outlier affects the mean of the data. For this one, I would probably say that 44 is the outlier, just because 44 is the furthest away from the next lowest number of 76. 108 is still kind of in there with the rest of the basketball scores, and quite honestly, that's probably an average basketball score, if I would say so myself. I'm no sports fanatic, but we're just going to go with that. Before, we found the mean with that number 44, and that was the 88.83. Now let's see what happens when we find it without the 44. I remember last time when you added up all these numbers, you get 1066. So what I'm essentially going to do is just take 1066 and subtract the 44 to get it out of it. That's going to give us 1022. To find the mean without the outlier, I'm just going to take 1022, and instead of dividing it by 12 numbers, I'll divide it by 11 numbers. So 1022 divided by 11 gives us 92.90, repeating, or you can say just 92.9. Notice how the mean changes with the outlier and without. I feel like 92.9 is more of an accurate representation of the average points for this game. So just make sure that you keep in mind any outliers might affect your mean if they are really low or really high, depending on your set of data. Now we're done with our video, so just make sure that you've written down 2 things that you have learned and 1 question that you still have. If you want to, go back to the vocabulary terms and you can essentially just write those down. Make sure that you turn both those things in, so you can write that on 1 piece of paper, 2 things that you've learned, 1 question you still have, and then we'll go over those questions tomorrow. Make sure you turn these into your class tray because this is going to count as a classwork grade. The next thing is you're going to be getting a puzzle worksheet on mean, median, mode, and range. It's the one where you can find your answer within the sheet and it spells out something at the end. Finally, you need to make sure that you pick up your homework worksheet. This is a 10-question worksheet just on mean, median, mode, and range. Very cut and dry. That is going to be due tomorrow as well. Please make sure you have all these done, and I will see you guys later. Thanks for tuning in.